Welcome to San Francisco in the summer of 1941. At this time, the city stretched across its many hills and valleys, forming distinct neighborhoods each characterized by a mixture of residential homes, commercial buildings, and public spaces. From an aerial perspective, one could observe the careful layout of streets, the alignment of houses along the avenues, and the patches of greenery interspersed between urban blocks. Victorian homes, Edwardian houses, and more recent apartment complexes coexisted, showing the architectural evolution of the city over decades. Market Street served as one of the primary thoroughfares, with streetcars running along rails, automobiles moving through the streets, and pedestrians walking briskly along sidewalks. The rhythm of daily life included workers commuting to offices, children walking to schools, shopkeepers opening their stores, and the movement of goods and people across the city. The Embarcadero waterfront was dotted with piers and warehouses, ferries carrying passengers to nearby communities, and ships transporting cargo to and from distant ports, all illustrating the city's economic dependence on maritime activity. The Bay Bridge, constructed in the late 1930s, connected San Francisco to Oakland and facilitated the movement of people and goods across the bay. Trolleys, buses, and cable cars provided public transit, allowing the city's population to travel efficiently across neighborhoods, navigating the hills and connecting residential, commercial, and industrial districts. Chinatown was a thriving cultural district, with narrow streets, densely packed markets, small shops, restaurants, and social establishments. Families, merchants, schoolchildren, and laborers carried out daily activities that reflected both tradition and adaptation to the urban environment. Chinese characters adorned shopfronts, banners, and street signs, and the sounds of conversations, footsteps, and street vendors created a distinctive auditory atmosphere. Residents went about routines such as shopping, trading, attending school, and engaging in religious or cultural practices. The wharves along the waterfront were occupied with fishing boats unloading crab, fish, and other seafood, which were subsequently sold in markets or prepared in restaurants such as Tom Tom's, Joe, and DiMaggio. Fisherman's Wharf represented a fusion of economic and social life, combining labor, commerce, and tourism in a busy but organized environment. The waterfront piers, ferries, and docks provided a hub for maritime transport and trade, supporting the livelihoods of countless workers and families, while simultaneously offering a scenic area for recreation and observation of bay activities. Public transportation included key system trains that ran along tracks connecting multiple neighborhoods, trolleys and buses that navigated both steep hills and flat streets, and cable cars that remained iconic symbols of the city. The streets of Market Street, Van Ness Avenue, and the roads of Russian Hill were filled with automobiles, streetcars, and pedestrians, forming a continuous urban rhythm. Each neighborhood displayed a combination of architectural styles, with houses and buildings reflecting historical trends, economic conditions, and population density. Gardens, fences, and small yards contributed to the domestic character of streets, while public parks provided green spaces for leisure and social activities. Schools, churches, and community centers offered education, worship, and social engagement, accommodating children, adults, and elderly residents in various programs. Neighborhood connectivity was supported by sidewalks, roads, and public transit, enabling access to commercial, industrial, and recreational areas efficiently. The airport in 1941 was a hub for domestic flights and limited international travel, hosting propeller-driven aircraft, passengers, and staff coordinating schedules, boarding, and luggage. Aviation represented an emerging industry that connected the city with the rest of the nation and the world, facilitating both commerce and personal travel. Observing from the air, one could see the neighborhoods, streets, parks, waterfront, and hills of San Francisco, providing a comprehensive view of the city's layout and activity. Industrial districts contained factories, warehouses, offices, and retail establishments, all supporting the economic life of the city. Workers, delivery vehicles, and shipments moved through streets and docks, creating a constant flow of labor and trade. Cultural institutions, theaters, cinemas, music halls, and cafes provided venues for leisure, social gatherings, and artistic performances, integrating cultural life with commerce and daily routines. Construction projects, public works, and new buildings reflected the city's growth ambitions, balancing historical architecture with infrastructure improvements to accommodate population increases and economic expansion. Residential life, commercial activity, cultural engagement, and maritime operations were all interwoven, creating a complex urban environment. Continuing from the bustling waterfront and urban districts of San Francisco in 1941, the city's commercial areas extended into avenues lined with retail stores, offices, and service establishments that catered to the diverse needs of residents. Shopkeepers opened their stores early in the morning, preparing goods for the day, while delivery carts and trucks moved along streets to restock inventory. Department stores and smaller specialty shops displayed signage advertising clothing, household goods, and fresh food, reflecting both the local culture and the economic vitality of the city. Pedestrians navigated crowded sidewalks while streetcars passed at regular intervals, providing a reliable mode of transportation that linked neighborhoods and commercial centers. The city's population relied on this combination of public and private transport to carry out everyday activities, including shopping, commuting to workplaces, and attending social or educational engagements. Neighborhoods such as Russian Hill, Nob Hill, and Pacific Heights featured steep streets with residential houses, gardens, and parks that provided scenic views over the bay and the cityscape. Streets were often narrow, lined with a mixture of housing styles from earlier eras and more modern constructions, reflecting decades of urban growth and architectural adaptation. Residents carried out routines that included children walking to school, adults commuting to offices or shops, and domestic workers attending to household tasks. The daily rhythm of life was punctuated by the sounds of streetcars, automobiles, and occasional construction, all creating a dynamic yet structured urban soundscape. Small parks and playgrounds offered recreational space for children, while benches, fountains, and shaded areas provided resting places for adults and the elderly, ensuring that public areas supported both leisure and social interaction. In cultural districts, theaters, cinemas, and music halls were central to the social life of residents. People attended performances ranging from live music to film screenings, engaging with entertainment that reflected both contemporary trends and traditional tastes. Cafes and restaurants provided spaces for socializing, business meetings, and casual gatherings, often with visible displays of food and signage advertising the specialties of the house. Neighborhoods integrated cultural institutions with daily commerce, illustrating how art, leisure, and trade coexisted within the same urban environment. The city's layout supported accessibility, with streets and public transit facilitating movement between cultural, commercial, and residential areas, allowing residents to participate fully in community life. The waterfront remained a key feature of San Francisco's identity in 1941. Piers such as Pier 39, Fisherman's Wharf, and smaller docks were active with fishermen, cargo handlers, and ferry operators. Ships brought goods from distant ports, while local vessels transported fish, seafood, and other products to markets and restaurants throughout the city. The movement of goods and people created a constant flow of activity, observable from both the shore and vessels in the bay. Ferries carried commuters, tourists, and cargo to nearby cities including Oakland, Sausalito, and Alameda, reinforcing the city's role as a regional transportation hub. Dockworkers coordinated shipments, unloaded cargo, and ensured that maritime commerce proceeded efficiently, demonstrating the labor-intensive processes that underpinned the city's economy. Residential life continued to blend with commercial and cultural activity. Households maintained gardens, porches, and yards, while street-level activity included children playing, neighbors greeting each other, and domestic chores being performed. Schools offered education to children from diverse backgrounds, while churches and community centers hosted social and religious gatherings that strengthened community bonds. Public spaces such as parks, playgrounds, and squares provided areas for relaxation, exercise, and observation of daily city life. The integration of residential, commercial, and public areas created a sense of cohesion and rhythm that defined the experience of living in San Francisco before America's entry into the Second World War. Transportation infrastructure extended beyond streetcars and buses to include the growing influence of automobiles. Streets accommodated private vehicles while maintaining the flow of public transit. Drivers navigated hills, intersections, and narrow streets, coordinating with pedestrians and streetcars in a complex urban dance that required attention and precision. Delivery vehicles and trucks serviced stores, warehouses, and offices, ensuring that goods were available for commerce and domestic use. The city's roads, bridges, and intersections were a testament to urban planning that sought to balance efficiency, safety, and accessibility in a rapidly growing metropolis. Industrial districts contributed significantly to the city's economic activity. Factories and workshops produced goods for local consumption and export, while warehouses stored and organized shipments for distribution. Employees worked in shifts, maintaining production schedules and coordinating logistics. The combination of industrial, commercial, and residential zones exemplified the interdependence of urban systems, highlighting how economic productivity and daily life were intertwined. Construction projects including roadworks, bridge maintenance, and building renovations demonstrated ongoing investment in urban infrastructure, ensuring that the city could support its growing population and economic demands. San Francisco's airport remained a key point for air travel, connecting the city to national and international destinations. Passengers queued for flights, aircraft were prepared for departure, and airport staff coordinated schedules and operations. The rise of aviation as a mode of transport emphasized the city's position as a gateway to the Pacific, facilitating both commerce and mobility. Observers from airplanes could see the expanse of the city, the distribution of neighborhoods, and the surrounding natural features, reinforcing the strategic and visual importance of urban planning. The aerial perspective offered insight into patterns of traffic, population density, and industrial distribution, all critical for understanding the city's function and growth at that time. Education and social institutions were integrated into the city's fabric. Schools, libraries, and community centers provided services that extended beyond formal education, including recreational programs, lectures, and cultural events. Residents of all ages could engage with these resources, fostering literacy, cultural awareness, and community cohesion. Religious institutions, including churches, temples, and meeting halls, offered spiritual guidance, social services, and venues for communal activity, reinforcing the role of faith-based organizations in urban life. The combination of educational, social, and religious institutions contributed to a layered urban experience, providing stability, structure, and opportunity within the growing metropolis.